Okay. So
Okay.
should be like, okay, I think it's live. Did it show you a notification saying it was live?
Yes, it is. It says it's live in the top
Okay,
corner.
cool. All right. So yeah, so what's been going on?
Yeah. I don't really have anything in particular today, to be honest, top of my mind that I'm discussing and I don't know. Like I just been things have been good. Maybe we can start with you because I need to think about what I need to talk about, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. So definitely what I talked about last time really helped. I'm feeling a lot more confident in my direction and just more excited about business again for the first time in a long time, which is great. Um, on Tuesday, I shot the video, the divorce video for my channel. I hired a videographer, and I mean, man, we shot for 9 hours, pretty much. Like it took a long time to shoot. We had a whole bunch of different scenes, like different locations that we shot at, and I had a full script. So yeah, I feel like it came out good. And we'll see when the editing is done. But I feel like it's going to be something that is going to be it's far superior to the other videos I've shot. So, and just the content I think is good. I feel like that video could do really really well. So, and with that, I kind of came up with. I've been really thinking lately about. It's funny. It's been like a recurring theme just for myself, but then a lot of my coaching clients and I'm like group coaching have this idea of like focusing and setting goals. And so the recurring theme has been like pick one goal and just like forget about everything else and just focus on that one goal. And that's it. And then once you hit that goal, then pick another one out, just like stepping stones across the river instead of thinking of the bigger scheme of things instead of, trying to do a multiple things at once. And so at first I had, make that video and get 100,000 views on a YouTube video. And then I realized like I want the goal to get 100,000 views on a YouTube video. But then what's the process that achieves that goal? Like what do I need to actually do? Because that get 100,000 views on a YouTube video is not a goal. It's more of an aspiration because it's not in my direct control. So I said, all right, well, what can I do in my direct control to do that? And my answer is do 10 fully scripted out, professionally shot YouTube videos. Because I believe that if I do that, and every time, and all I'm doing is focusing on doing those 10 as my main focus, and that's what I'm concentrating on, then I will achieve the goal, the aspiration of getting 100,000 views. Right. And then, when you think about that, if I can achieve that, get 100,000 views on a YouTube video, that changes that's like, it's one thing, right? It's not, it's kind of weird because it's like, it's looking from the bottom up instead of the top down, right? Because the top down says, okay, well, how can I make money? And what aspects of the business can I change? And, and all that. And then, but this is the bottom up approach saying, all right, let me just focus on this one thing. And if you think about it, if I can do it one time and I get 100,000 views on a YouTube video, and I develop the skill to do that, even just the one video that does that alone, how much will that raise the business, right? How many more sales will I make, right? That has the potential to triple the business just in that one thing, which it's weird because if you looked at it from a top-down approach, you probably would not come to the conclusion that the answer is to create a better YouTube video that gets 100,000 views. But looking at it from the bottom-up approach, that it has all those other benefits that it solves a lot of the other problems. And so I think I'm gonna just focus on that kind of thing. It's like, and I used to do this. I think, I used to do one project at a time. I used to be like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on writing this book, right? And every time I did that, it moved the needle and it blew up the business. And the benefit of that is too, is it's like not only are you creating like super high quality work, you're actually learning a valuable skill where in the business, when you're just kind of humming along, you're not really, it's like deliberate practice, right? If you just do the same thing and you're not pushing yourself, you're not really growing and learning. You could get 20 years or 1 year of experience 20 times instead of 20 years of experience. And I feel like I've been stagnant. And so by doing that and focusing on, just doing things really, really good, like my next project might be to write the book, or, the Bulldog Mindset book or whatever. I don't know. I won't know until I finish this one. But I feel like by doing that, not only do you increase your skill, but it's also a lot more enjoyable work because you're not interrupted. You're focusing on the one thing, and it's creative work. Like you're putting your full effort into it instead of just getting something done because you have a bunch of things that need to get done. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Kaizen approach in Japanese.
Mhm.
Yeah. The one thing. And it's funny you say that because like I literally just got this productivity planner. It's a really popular one. You've probably seen it before.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and it just like has you say like, yeah, what is that? It goes along with that same idea of like Charles Schwab doing that. And he paid some guy $25,000 when the guy told him how to do that, to focus on the one thing. And then Charles Schwab gave him, that check, which is equivalent to about $500,000 now.
Yeah.
Just for that one idea. And like, yeah, so you're absolutely right. And yeah, it's frustrating when like I want to do that too for YouTube because it's what I'm passionate about. And then I have
Right.
like, just like a random interview in the middle of the day I have to do, or an onboarding call. And it's like some of these things can be delegated, or like I have private clients too. So it's like, I think for me, it's to go along with that. It's like blocking off certain days where like that day is dedicated to that one thing, right?
Yeah. And again, I'm in the same position, right? I've got my coaching calls on Mondays, the group coaching, and I've got one-on-one coaching calls on Wednesdays. But all the other time that I have, like all the free time that I have in a business, I'm not doing anything else. I'm just focusing on this one project, right? And of course, I'm trying to delegate as much of the other stuff away as possible. But yeah, that's kind of the new philosophy. And it's weird. It's been like a synchronicity because I've been encountering this concept just as I've been coaching other people. I've been realizing that's what they need to do. And then it reflected back on me, and I was like, shit, like this is good advice. I need to do this. And then in a lot of the books I've been reading, that's kind of been the recurring theme as well. So it's like it's definitely, I'm definitely seeing that it's being shown to me. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like recognizing those signs is important. And I think like me also getting the same idea recently too is like reinforcing it back to you as well, and you back to me about that one thing.
Yeah, it's so crazy though, because it's like it's so simple, but it's so, we're so resistant to it because there's like all this other stuff we feel like we need to be doing, and it's like, but I've been thinking about it. I've been spinning my wheels for a long, long time without it. And actually, what's interesting about that is like, even this just change in philosophy and just how I've been approaching things. Because I mean, there's other things I have to do. Like I have to create, short videos and stuff like that, just to maintain. But I mean, but the mindset has been like to put the effort into the thing, like to I'm trying to think of how to describe it, but to not just think about getting it done, but like, how can I do that? Like it's better to have less and higher quality and really be authentic, right? I talked about dropping the marketing. And what's been funny about that is I started dropping the marketing, and last week we did like $25,000 in sales. So I had an Instagram reel on financial stuff, which was an authentic reel instead of like trying to figure out what's going to be good. And it got like 80 something thousand views, and it resulted in just a ton of leads coming from that. And so that also made me realize, I'm like, wow, it's like crazy because I could put out all these reels and, you know, and get a few leads, but all it takes is one really, really good one, and it could do 50 times the result of 10 okay ones, so.
What have you noticed that constitutes like a good reel that like gets the views? Have you seen patterns?
I mean, it's kind of all over the place. I mean, the big thing is that's relatable to people, that it's authentic, like super authentic, and simple. So a simple prompt, simple thing that people understand, right? Not a complicated, like in the financial, the one that I did for finances that worked out really well was one where I was talking about how I was like, I'm sick of these young internet guru, millionaire kids, giving you this bullshit advice, like online, right? And it's like, this is some, this is the thing. And I basically was like, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, all that. Like, I'm going to tell you like how I did it. And I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear, which is like, if you want to build a business, 1.5, 2 years of not making any money at all, right? But it'll be solid, right? And so, but people resonate with that because they're like, that's not bullshit. That sounds real. Like people's right now in society, people's bullshit meter is higher than it's ever been because they've seen it all. And so the message that resonates, I feel like right now, is no hype. Like here, like this is hard work. I'm going to show, because I think people are sick of. They've tried all the scams, and they're just like, they're at this point where they're like, give me the hard thing to do that will work. Like, I don't want to try the shortcut anymore. I don't want to try crypto anymore. I don't want to do any of that stuff. It's all burned me. Just like, tell me the honest truth. I don't care if it's hard. As long as it works, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And we've talked about that before, about that authenticity and how that really kind of just shines through. And wondering what that looks like. I mean, it's clear for like the financial aspect, but like I'm wondering what that looks like for other, like my niche or like dating niche, like what that would look like.
I was thinking about that. Like maybe for your niche, it looks like this, because you and I know the honest truth, right? Which is that a majority of these guys that try to get back with their wife, it's not going to happen, right? So maybe that's the honest truth, is to say, look, here's the deal. Other people are going to promise you results. That's fine, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I know that there's a 90% chance you're not going to get back together with your wife. There might be a 10% chance. It's fine, but I'm going to give you the best opportunity to do it based on what I actually know, that at the end of the day, even if you don't, you're going to come out a better person and human being and recover and heal from this. Maybe that's it's a message that you don't want to say because everyone else is promising quick and definite results. But I don't know, people are jaded. They don't, I think they will resonate more with the cold, hard, honest truth, knowing that, this is the reality.
Yeah, I'm so hesitant to say that, because it goes against what I've been saying. Because like I mean, obviously I share what like these results because the best clients we get those results. But you're right, it's not all of them. Absolutely not. I don't know the exact percentage, but maybe I can. Like I know Alex Hormozi had an ad like this, which was like his most popular ad. He was like he was in the gym. He was on some like little wheel moving thing where you push the weights, and he had like a stick pointing to like some cardboards, and he goes like 98% of our clients get this result after 4 weeks, 86% get this result, and 76% get this result. And like the numbers weren't crazy. They were good, but they weren't like crazy lying. They were like factual numbers, right? And he's like,
right,
this is the fact. Like if you join us, you'll make this much money. But if you're on the average, if you're the worst performing clients that sign up with us, you'll still make this much money. I mean, it's not the best, but it's like way better than you're probably making now. So that once approach does work. I'm trying to position it in a way that is like not like defeating for a lot of these guys. Cause like a lot of these guys do feel already defeated, and they're like, oh shit, like 90% of guys are not gonna get their wife back. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's worth testing. I just like I'm so hesitant. I feel that inner resistance.
It might be worth testing. I mean, the thing is, like, even then, people are going to believe they're the 10%, right? So
You think so?
and that
I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of these guys personally, John, is like when I speak with them, they think they're like their situation's harder than every other guy's. Like, and it's totally not. But like, they think their situation's worse off.
well, that's the truth too to tell them is that you probably think your situation is worse than what it actually is, you know. But I think hitting them with the real dose of reality, I don't know, you know, like I said, I feel like that's the message to give for people because they are searching like we're at an advanced level of market sophistication where people know the bullshit, you know. So I don't know, it's worth testing out to see, but that's the equivalent in your industry is to say something like that. Basically the ugly truth, right? The ugly truth, that's it.
Yeah. So like
Ugly truth marketing.
walking around too. Yeah. Yeah. It's worth. I think I could start testing it in some like shorts and see how those perform with audience. I wonder if like the younger audience is more jaded than the older audience. I feel like the older audience isn't on social media, doesn't get a lot of these offers as much, but it's worth testing. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's almost like though it's like a pervasive like uh thing in society, right? It's like even if they're not on social media, like it's almost like the attitudes and the feelings creep up like through all levels. It's weird.
Yeah.
I'm reading this book called The Fourth Turning. It sucks. I mean, it's a hard book to read. It's like it's very difficult to understand book, but it's about history and essentially a cycle of history that has 4 phases. And you know, you have the high, and then you have like this awakening, and then you have like the dissolution or the destruction. And it's like all of society kind of goes through these 20-year cycles where it's like changes that way. So, but
Yeah.
I think we're at a phase where people are like they're tired of bullshit and they just want the truth.
Yeah. I was actually watching you know Noah Kagan, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched his video he posted yesterday, like interview. He went to like this like airport where he's trying to like talk to jet owners, and he actually got in a couple jets talking to guys. And one of the guys that was the last guy he was talking to was really successful. He was talking about those cycles too and how we're going into, and this is more like financial cycle, but like even in ancient like Vedic philosophy, I think in Hindu philosophy, they talk about the kalpas and like how they were saying like there's 4 different phases to like just like with the seasons, there's 4 different phases to like these massive spiritual changes in people. They're called the kalpas. I don't know what how long they are. I think they're every like 5,000, 4,000 years or something like that. So yeah, I think we do go in cycles and phases, and I think it should be no different with marketing. Like it really shouldn't. Like there should be phases as well. Yeah, because like when you first like Tai Lopez kicked off the first like, you know, right? No, seriously, like he was the one who kicked off the first like big in your face kind of thing, and like, oh, I'm gonna make money. And I think even like if you remember these infomercials, remember that guy in the money striped suit back in the day in like the 1990s?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those infomercials, and I think that was like the cycle they were saying like, you can make money fast, blah blah blah. And I think you're right. It does go in cycles too. I'm trying to like think about it. Anyways.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like a lot of it's generational too, because what happens is like it makes sense because essentially the premise of the book is that you've got, you know, this older generation, right? And they raise their kids differently like than what they were raised, right? So like if their parents were harsh to them, then they tend to be too indulging of their children, right? And that indulgence of the children
then causes that next generation, when they grow up, to raise like those kids end up having some attributes that are like, if they're too indulged and too protected, then they end up resenting that and wanting their freedom and being rebels, and so like it controls how they grow up their children, and when those children reach adulthood, like the way that they interact in society is different in shape, because of that. So their political and everything kind of changed. So it all kind of like feeds into itself. But those cycles exist everywhere. Like the marketing aspect of it, it's just, and we've seen it. It's like it's almost like, I almost feel like email marketing is almost completely dead at this point, right? It's like it's so ineffective right now.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's counterexamples, but as a general rule, absolutely. I mean, I don't know anyone really talking about it. I remember even Alex Hormozi was saying like he didn't like set up his email marketing stuff until he was making like 5 million a year or something like that.
Oh wow, yeah.
So,
yeah. But yeah, you should test it out and see how that works.
And so, authenticity just comes down to honesty, right? Like it's all it comes down to, right? It's like,
yeah. And it's funny because I get on coaching calls with people now, or like consultations, and I'll be like, look, it's going to take you, a year and a half to 2 years before you even make a dime. Right. I was like, because that's just how it, like, I'm telling you the truth about this. Like, honestly, though, if you build an audience-based business and you get to that point, you'll be able to make money continually. Like to make 5-10K a month will be easy after that point. Like and people are excited about that. They're like, yeah, no, that's fine. I don't care. Like, I just want to, build something. And I'm surprised by their reaction because I'm expecting kind of them to be like, well, that sucks. Like, I don't want to, pay you for coaching for a year and a half or 2 years before I see a dime of income. But they know that what I'm saying is true, because why would I say it?
Yeah. I think it even comes down to like I notice when I record sometimes, like there's like not that it's bad, but there's like a different vocal tonality than normal conversation. Right. And I think even is like something picked up on, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. I was talking about, I think last time I was talking about Leo from Actualized, right? And I was watching one of his videos where he was talking about manipulation, and he was saying that, he's not going to manipulate anymore. Like, that's when his focus is, like, even like with pickup with girls, like he could get them to come over, but he's not going to say the thing that he would say because it's not, he's trying to get something out of it instead of just being, and so, his results might be less, and he was saying the same thing with like marketing and selling anything. He's just like not going to do any kind of manipulation. And I was thinking about that. And at first I was like, that's kind of, silly and extreme, and like manipulation and leadership. It just depends on who the benefit's for. But ultimately it's like, which still may be true. But ultimately I was like, what he's saying is, it makes a lot of sense. It just, what if everything that you're doing, because we, there's authentic messages we deliver, but how authentic is it when ultimately like we're trying to, get something out of it? But if we're just like, I don't care what happens, I'm just going to say what is the truth of the situation. But then what's the second order effect of this? Second order effect of this is that it's like, well, what about me selling my product? Well, you can't authentically sell your product without manipulating, in which case you must not believe in your product enough. So then the second order effect is that you've got to have something, it causes you to go back to what you're creating and make it so valuable and so good that you believe in it so much that you can talk to people about it without trying to sell them.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you're excited about it.
I think this also bleeds into like what your goals are, in that like if your outcome is based in these like, let's say financial or even views like you have, John, like, and then what if you're being authentic and it's not resulting in the outcome that you want? And if you start to manipulate, it would achieve that outcome. It's like, do you shift your goals, right? To not be views and money and things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's well, that's why also I like to create the in between step of the process between the goal, right? So it's like my whole framework is aspiration, goal, process, right? So aspiration is, let's say, again, like I said, get 100,000 views on a YouTube video. Why is it an aspiration? Because I can't directly control it, but it's what I want to do, my general outcome that I want, right? So then goal is what can I directly control that has a 99% chance of achieving that aspiration. So in my mind, I came up with the idea of, you know, of if I do 10 YouTube videos, right, that I have the high production quality that I write the scripts out for, that I professionally, video, then that's most likely going to achieve that. And then the process part of it is just, I don't even worry about the goal anymore. Just now, my objective is just create these 10 videos as best as I can, and don't worry about any other thing. And so that kind of creates a separation because I'm not thinking about the goal. I'm just going to do that. And at the end of it, then I'll evaluate the result and see where I'm at. You know what I mean? I think that kind of, it makes it so that it doesn't dirty the water. So that, because you're not worried about, you're not tempted to manipulate, or to move the goalposts or do anything, because all you're focused on is doing this process.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of the trichotomy of control with stoicism. Like the example I always give is like with, I do an example going on at night with girls, or like a sports game, but like with girls, it's like you can have your goal to be, I want to get 5 numbers, 2 makeouts, and bring a girl home. It's like, how much control do you
Right.
have for that? Pretty much none or little.
Right.
Make your goal, I'm going to approach 10 women. I'm going to go for 5 kisses. I'm going to try to attempt to bring a girl home. That you have full control over, which can achieve the
Exactly.
same outcome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like for you, it's like I'm gonna make I'm gonna, have this many cuts in per minute in my video to like keep retention, right? I'm gonna test 5 different thumbnails and see which one I like the best. Like those things that can kind of equate to like a higher view retention and stuff, click through rate and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to think of like where I could do that. I think with YouTube, especially because like right now my goals have been like, oh, I want to make a video that gets 100,000 views as well, or like I want to get up to 10K subscribers by this time point. But it's like, as long as I focus on making the best videos every single time, I think those things will naturally happen, right? Especially if I
Well,
shake up my niche, because like my niche, like what I'm making with like relationship help, is like very basic right now. Like competitors, it's just talking head, normal, the titles or whatever, the thumbnails suck. So.
well, think of it this way. I think that, I think if you just say it'll eventually happen if you just make good videos, I think that's not specific enough. I think if you said, okay, let's say you have the goal of, like, one of the goals, what was one of the goals you said for the, to do?
Yeah, make 100,000 view videos. It's kind of like you. Yeah.
Okay. So if your goal is to make 100,000 view video, then if you absolutely had to achieve that goal, right? Or, you know, you're gonna at the end of a year, someone's gonna blow your brains out, right? Like, what would you have to do to absolutely ensure that that is going to happen? That that's like, you don't have anything else you need to do in your life. You just, like, for 1 year, you're either gonna make 100,000 view video or you're gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, I would just focus on, that's all I would focus on, right? I would test out like so many different, like I would see the top videos that get the top views, like No Contact, Asking for Space, like those 2 titles. And I would just do
Right.
7 different iterations of each video, and like just making like the titles very compelling, like the watch time really good, just like focusing just on viewer retention and click through rate, nothing on like making sure I sell them. Yeah. So and then I would find ways to like, yeah, I think those are the main things I can control, to be honest.
Like, you could probably think through, there's probably a lot of ways you could do it. Maybe it would be like, you could go and study like film school, and like, it's like there's a lot of different things. Or maybe you spend like, 3 months constructing one video where you just like rehearse different scenes over and over again, where you play test it with different viewers and see if you have different variations of it, try different cuts of it, right? redo the video, the same exact video 5 times. If you redid the same exact video 10 times, you know what I mean? Like before you even published it, just that I'm just throwing, I mean, there's like a million ways you like, if you really, really think about it, you could do it.
Mhm.
There's no question you could do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's probably 1,000 roads that would take you there. But if you're just making good videos, that's not a road. You see what I'm saying? The difference is like if you come up with a really concrete plan, you absolutely could do it if you had to do it with anything. Then that's the thing, is like any goal, if you come up with a really concrete plan, you could do it. If you had to run 100 miles, in 6 months, you could do it, right?
Mhm. And my life depended on it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Which that's arguably harder. In fact, yeah, I would say which is harder, making a video that does 100,000 views on YouTube or running 100 miles.
100 miles for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But that we know we could achieve, absolutely, right? Like if you'd be 100% confident that in 6 months you could run 100 miles if you had to, right?
I mean, the most I've ever done was like, and I didn't even run the whole thing, but it was like 14 miles maybe. But yeah, I think it's
But
6 months.
you could do a training program that, I mean, that you could
Yeah.
work your way up and be able to actually accomplish that.
If I devoted like my every waking hour to making sure I could most effectively do it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that, and that's the kind of realization that I had, was that like all these things, it's like having all these things that I wanted to do and goals is like you're never going to hit any of them, or it becomes so. But if it's just one thing and you're just like, I have to accomplish this thing, it must happen. How can I make sure that it happens? You'll figure it out, and that's what I'm going to do with this, with the 100,000 views, is because I mean the quick, like the basic thing is I'm going to create 10 videos that are completely scripted out, professionally shot. That's the basic. But to get down to the nitty gritty, what I'm going to do is after I release the first video, I'm going to take that I'm going to go over the first video multiple times, look at the retention, look at what I could improve. And the next video, I'm going to take all the learnings from the first one and apply it to the second video, right? Write the script better, shoot the video better, get better at delivering the lines, right? And then from the second video, I'm going to take all the learnings and studying that I can and research I can to make the third video better. And that's why I know I'm going to get there. Absolutely. Is because by the time I hit the 10th, it's going to be so much better than the first. And the first one is already capable of potentially hitting that goal by itself. So to me, it's like, I went from a goal where it's like a pipe dream. Yeah, it'd be cool if I did 100,000, to this is absolutely going to happen. There's no way this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then again, that's where I drew the connection. I was like, and what does that mean to the business? If I can create videos, and I know how, because once you've done it, you know how to do it, to create videos that do 100,000 views, that means that, I mean, on a video that gets, let's say, 5,000 views, to me on my channel, that could be worth, let's say, $10,000, right? 100,000 views is worth $100,000. Like it 10x's the business. I mean, at the very least, it 4 or 5x's the revenue. So it's like all of this complexity, right, of all these systems in the business, make Instagram reels, do this, do that, all that stuff, and it's just one simple thing: just become good enough at creating YouTube video to make 100,000 view video. That's it. All that other stuff was just a waste of time. Like, I mean, obviously you have to have systems and stuff, but that's the main, I mean, like thinking about it and trying to figure out all these other things. And I realized that it is that simple for almost every problem that we have.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think like, I don't disagree with you, because like when I've, the whole reason we started doing quick porn was like, I made that video that got 1 million views, and I was like, oh shit, there's an audience here and there's a need, and that kind of kicked it off, right? And it's like, when I made that video, I was like, I put a lot of energy and effort into it, and it was new and it was different, and I put a lot of energy into the thumbnail. I bought a new backdrop, which I just bought a new one again, but like I bought a new backdrop for that video. That was like the first time I had a new backdrop. Thumbnail was sick, and like put so much energy and attention to it, and like it popped off. You're right. And so you're right. And it completely changed the business. And we've talked about this, but like one video will completely make a channel. And one video that pops off for like 20 views, and they make the next one that like is on the end screen that relates to that one. And it's just like a trickle effect that just kind of blows up their whole entire channel.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was like I was talking about last week, right? About like Elden Ring, right? Like that game, they spent 5 years making that game. 5 years, right? They didn't make like, a bunch of dinky iPhone games, that took a month to make. They spent 5 years and hundreds of people making that. So it's like that level of and that's, I mean, they made millions and millions and millions of dollars from that thing, but it's exactly what you're saying. That's the real thing, is like create something really, really fucking good that like it has a 100x effect, that it's so much better than creating. Even look at Alex Hormozy, right? Okay, he doesn't even have a second book out yet, right? He just has that first book. Okay, that one book. Okay, if anything is, you could attribute anything to Alex Hormozy's success, it's that one book. That's it. That's the number one thing that caused everything else for him, as far as like his social media presence. I mean, obviously he had success before then with his businesses, but his brand is completely built off of that book, because that book is what makes his YouTube channel blow up. That book is what makes all of his stuff blow up, is because it's a 99-cent book. But he spent so much hours writing that book, refining the book, cutting it, making it as clean and as succinct as possible. I think he said he cut like 3/4 of the book out, or whatever it was. So that's a great example of it.
Yeah, no, I heard somewhere he like redid it like 17 times or something like that.
Yeah, and imagine and again, it's just like, again, it's finally just dawned on me. But imagine if you did something and you redid that same thing 17 times, how fucking good it would be. It would be really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like but we never do that.
No. Yeah, I think it's like, for me, I don't know if you can relate to this. It's like, it just feels good to finish something. And so like oftentimes I'll just finish it good enough for it to be done. Feel like I accomplished it, instead of just like taking like 5 days to do one video, and then like the fear of it flopping if I put all this extra energy and attention into it. You know what I mean? But like all the three videos that have over 1 million views on my main channel, those all took a lot of time. You know what I mean? Like, there's lots of videos that I did put a lot of time into that they flopped, but like never did I make a video that I kind of like half-assed that blew up ever.
Yeah.
So.
And even just when I was shooting this, this last week with the videographer I had out here, he literally spent 30 minutes setting up one shot. I was like, what the heck? Like, I would have just like, okay, that looks good, turn on the camera. He's like, let's take the stuff off your desk. Okay, let's move this stuff over here. And then he's like, all right, let me take a picture from this angle. Let me take a picture from this angle. Let me try it with this lens. So he did all these picture things. Like, okay, now which one is the best, right? And then he set it up. You know what I mean? And I was like, all right, see, this is the thing that I'm missing. Right. That's what
Mr. Beats does. Like, I remember watching a podcast clip of him or something. Like, he took like, I think, a full day to do 10 seconds of a video. A full day. And like, he says he has like over like 200 thumbnail iterations before he picks one. You know what I mean? He spends like $100,000 on thumbnails. And it's just like, you don't have to go to that extreme, but like, ask yourself, like, and I was watching the training from Ed, at the film booth training I'm going through.
Yeah.
Week 3, he's talking about thumbnails. He's like, he made a good point at the beginning of the video. He's like, everyone says how important thumbnails are, but they don't put the energy into the thumbnails. You know what I mean? And it's true, man. Like, I know it's super important, but like, I'm like, oh, this looks good enough. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's just put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I was thinking about it too. I was like, even just as I was shooting this video too, I was like, all right, a typical movie is what, 2 hours long, right? How long do they take to shoot a 2-hour movie? They take months, right? So in one day of shooting, they might shoot all day and shoot one 5-minute scene if they're lucky, right? 5 minutes all day long, 8 hours shooting to get 5 minutes, probably, right? If you think about the production schedule, if it takes like 6 months to produce a movie
Or like
and it's 2 hours long.
The script take to make whoever wrote the script, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes years, depending on the script, or if it's a book based off a book, right? It's like,
Yeah. So it's like we had this sort of easy money train as creators, and we took things too casually, right? We're like, we could just throw shit out there and then people will give us money. And it worked. And we made a lot of money, right? And but we're not really professionals. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not actually putting the actual real work into it that a real artist or it's funny. It's almost like we're frauds. It's almost like we're phonies, because we think we're hot shit because we're just talking on a camera or whatever. And, but no, a movie maker, they spend millions and millions of dollars and spend so many, again, it's not that we have to do that level of production. I'm just saying, it's like, it's not about the money, and it's not about the, it's about the time and the attention to detail and care about it, as opposed to, and that's what I've been kind of just realizing. And what I've been realizing is that's why the work I've been doing has been soul draining, right? Is because you're just that you're putting out shit. And again, I'm being extreme, right? It's not total shit. It's not, it's not like you're like, it's good work, but it's not great work. It's not great work. And because of that, it kills your soul, slowly over time, because you're not really growing. You're not really producing what you can. Like, you're not putting the care into it that you could be. At least, I'm speaking for myself, but I think that, but I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, you give me a lot to think about, it's funny because, like, all of this being said, that you can still find so many counterexamples of like people that blowing up, having success, but just like talking head, normal shit, right? Like, you know who ABBA and Preach are?
Oh yeah.
Like, they just do like commentary on like videos, and like their channel is like 2.5 million followers, or 2 million followers, and it's like they have a creaky wood floor, like their microphone is like average, and it's like they have amazing personalities. Like, I think that's the reason why. But like, you can always find counterexamples, right? And so you just have to ask, like, what causes people to like want to spend their attention on people. And like Andrew Tate too, like, it's making people feel something. I think you can make people feel something through camera cuts, different angles, the beauty of the art of the film, what you're saying, but also your own personality too. But like, if you can combine all of that together, obviously, into this like cohesive package, that's what a movie is, right? Like, you think of the best, movies or like comedies or whatever it is, drama. It's like the actor's amazing, right? You're involved into the character, and it's cinematic and beautiful. So it's like, where can you add as much value to the audience member as possible? And I think you're absolutely right. Like, I think the one thing I can agree with you on is like, you should always be thinking, how can I make this better than the last video? Like, where am I looking at? Where can I improve on? And if you're not doing that, then like, what is the point? You're just putting it out there, right? Just to put it out there.
Here's the counter argument to kind of what you're saying, right? So like, okay, you take, and maybe ABBA and Preach is not the best example, but let's say that you didn't worry about the video production or any of that stuff, and you just let's say you're a comic, like you're making comedy videos, right? And like a stand-up comic, right? And you just worked on your routine, you just worked on how you delivered your tonality, and you practice it in front of the mirror, and you practice it in front of an audience, and then you just turn on your phone, okay, with shitty lighting, okay, and no script and no production quality, and you record some really funny shit, right? It's going to do well, and you're going to do well. But even though you put the effort wasn't put into the filming, it wasn't put into the scripting, but it was put into the performance and the development of that skill. So it was still put somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing about it. It's like, it's still put somewhere. It's still the art.
Yeah. The person I was thinking about, you probably don't know who he is, but this guy named Casey Frey. He's hilarious. Like a lot of his most popular videos, he's so funny. Like it's just his camera phone. He's just doing ridiculous stuff, but it's like he has millions of followers because he's just an hilarious human being, right? And you're right. You don't know how much time he's put into his craft, right? Of like being funny, right? Or so you're absolutely right. And I think you're right. It's like not comparing yourself to other people, and just like comparing yourself against yourself. How can I make this next video better? Either if it's through the camera shots or the B-roll, or you're right, how much time in the script, or like, am I practicing like being funnier? Did I run this joke by other people? How many takes did I do? It's like I think the audience member knows, like if we're audience members ourselves, we know when someone put extra video, like at different angles and B-roll and like using like, stock video footage versus their own B-roll. We recognize and appreciate that stuff because we know the time and energy it takes to put into that. And I think the average audience isn't a YouTuber also does. Just because we make videos doesn't mean like the audience member doesn't know that too. And I think they do.
Yeah. And even if you take like someone like Abba and Preach, for example, if they, sure, maybe they're super, super successful just talking heads and doing commentary. But I mean, they probably put a lot of effort into choosing what they're going to do the commentary on, and maybe they talk about it ahead of time, but maybe not. But if they did put that higher level of effort into then they might be at 20 million, right? So you know what I mean? Like at the if they put Mr. Beast level work into what they're doing, they might be at Mr. Beast level. You see what I'm saying? So it's even. It's
maybe it goes back to authenticity. Maybe when it comes to a commentary channel, maybe people just want to see like two dudes in a room talking to you, and they don't want to see like talk show kind of like, hey, today we're going to show you. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Yeah, you're right. There are best practices, but there are like, this is what Ed was saying. There's like so many counterexamples. So like go along the best practices, but like also experiment at times too.
Yeah. What I think it comes down to is it's just like, what are you putting into it, right? There's not an absolute formula for success, but what are you are you putting the real effort and care into what you're producing? That's the question, right? And that's the one because again, that's where it comes down to. Like, it's even, you could be successful and lose your soul. You know what I mean? Like, that's certainly possible in the sense that like you can make a lot of money and be burnt out because what you're doing makes you feel like shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Good convo, good fun, good. I love it. I love it. When is the video going to be done? I'm curious.
Hopefully in the next week or two. He said it takes about 2 weeks for him to edit a video on average. So
for sure. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. I'm super excited. It's going to be definitely way different than any of the other videos I've done. So
awesome.
I'm going to start working on the next script today. So
all right, man. Well, let me know if you want to do that hike sometime soon, and I guess have a good weekend.
Yeah, maybe next week. I was thinking, do you I was thinking maybe if you want and your girlfriend,
I could take you rock climbing in the Mesa Rim if you want to go rock climbing.
I'd do that. Yeah, sure. I'd try that. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. We'll do it.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, sometime next week. Let's do it.
All right, for sure.